Hello, and welcome back if you've come back, or welcome if you're new here. This is my second attempt at doing some live coding online. Hopefully it'll be a bit smoother than my first one, but we shall find out. If you're here, maybe say hi on the chat. Yay, it's Kerry. Hi, Kerry. Great to see you here. For people that weren't here last week, I'll maybe quickly recap what happened and then maybe jump straight back into it. But I keep trying to learn Haskell and starting it and then giving up on it. And I thought that maybe linking it to live coding and doing this every week would help me be more regular at sticking to learning Haskell and help me get a bit further. And in particular, I'm quite interested in building software with it rather than just going through tutorial exercises. And the first program I'm trying to build it should be quite a simple little program. I just want to point it at some files. It'll read the file contents, pull out all the non-alphanumeric characters, all the symbols basically, and then tell me how frequently they occur. And ideally, it'll spot sort of chains of multiple characters and tell me how frequently those chains occur. And the reason for this is I can then use that for programming my keyboard, just to make the symbol more apt, more appropriate to the kinds of stuff I'm writing. So that was the plan last week. I managed to write a grand total of one line of Haskell and copied and pasted some tests. So it wasn't super successful, but maybe this week will go a bit better. I've also tried to be disciplined about not going back and touching the setup or the code or anything since last week. I played a bit with the streaming settings, but I haven't changed I haven't touched any of the code. So we will see whether or not I remember what I did last week. So if I click there, hopefully it'll start sharing the code and the editor of where I left it last time, which is on the test I wrote at the end of the 1 hour session. So it does kind of explain, it does kind of explain, if I focus on the right window, what I was trying to achieve with the single line of code that I wrote. So I wrote this function called extract symbols. You give it a string and it just extracts the symbols from that. And the line for doing it in Haskell, let's see if I can actually find the library. Yeah, the line for doing it in Haskell is just filter not is alphanum. So quite a neato little line. I thought a couple of things actually. I thought maybe we could just move forward with this and write something that actually calculates the frequency of stuff. But also I'd kind of like to go back and look at this line of Haskell again, because although it's only one line, there's some interesting stuff going on in there, I think. One thing is it's point free. So this is a function, but I haven't named any arguments. They just implicitly get passed into this function and then into filter. In fact, they get passed into filter, but as a second argument. Sorry, I take that back. And then this function composition I think is interesting as well, because it's not something you see so much in other languages. I was thinking it'd be interesting to write this function again in Go, but I don't think I have Go installed on this machine, so maybe it's not the best thing to do right now. But maybe I can look at sort of what filter does. Good choice not installing Go. Maybe look at what filter does. I can look at how the function composition works, and then maybe how this whole point free thing works and what the alternative would be. In fact, the point free is the easiest one to start with because I can easily make it non-point free. Point costly? I don't know. So what I've done is I've just omitted the argument, the first argument, so it's a string you pass in here. So this S just becomes the second argument to filter. You can see it gets underlined and it's suggesting another reduction. And what that really means is it can be written in the point free style. So that S I don't need to pass in because it's the only argument and it goes right in the end. Filter, if I can bring up a terminal, REPL. Filter is just built in. It actually comes from data.list. Just clear it for a second. Can I make it bigger? Maximize. That's cool. So if you have a look at filter, it comes from data.list, I think. But what it is, it's a function that takes another function, which takes something of type A. I think it's pointed as a, or pointy, was point free. Yep, that'd be a better terminology than costly. So filter takes a function which takes any argument, but returns a Boolean, and it takes a list of those arguments, and it returns a new list of those arguments. So typically what you do is you say, let's say you have a list of numbers. So you might have like 1, right, let's do 1 to 4. You can then have another function which takes a single number, so one of those elements, and returns a bool. So I can say, is there something called even? Yeah, there is. So you say even of 4 is true and even of 3 is false. So I can then say filter even is the function, and then that list. And what it will do is just return a new list where that function has returned true. Presumably I can also say odd in there. So that's what filter does. If we just minimize that again. So what we're passing it as its argument, as its first argument, which is this function which goes from some type to Boolean, is this combination of not and is alpha num. So is alpha num I found in data char. And what that does is it returns true if a single character is alphanumeric. So, oops. Why is that? Oh, because I haven't loaded the library. Import data.chart. Can I just do that inside the REPL? Yes, I can. Okay. So, is alphanum, you give it a single character and returns true if that is alphanumeric. So it should return true for 4, but it returns false if you pass it in a symbol like the pipe symbol, for example, which is exactly the opposite of what I want. So I don't want alphanumeric. So what I can then do is say not is alphanumeric of that thing, and it gives me the inverse. You can drop these brackets out, but then the compiler gets confused because it doesn't know which order the arguments line up in. It's trying to call, scroll too far. It couldn't match characters to T with actual type of bool. Scroll a bit more. No, we're at the right level. The function not is applied to bool, and we've applied it to this first argument only, because it only takes one argument. And the type of this first argument is character to T, so I can't use character to T as the first argument here because the first argument is of type bool. So dropping the brackets doesn't work on its own. You can handily put in, if you can find it on the keyboard, you can handily put in a $sign. That's kind of the equivalent of saying evaluate this first. It's like putting the brackets back in, and then take the result of that and pass it into not. So that works. But because we don't want the result from calling is alphanum on this pipe symbol, we want to use it for everything in our source string. So what we want is a kind of combination of calling is alphanum and then calling not on result. And the way you can do that is just compose the functions. So we can create a new function called not is alphanum. And we just set it to be not followed by, is alphanum followed by not. You can do it around. You can say not is alphanum of, let's say, the pipe symbol. If I can find it on my keyboard. And it now gives me true rather than false, which is what I want from my particular filter. So the reason I stopped and explained all that, mostly because I find that by explaining things helps me understand them better. So I just wanted to reinforce that kind of how I got to this answer and how this answer works. Okay, so that's not super exciting for today, I guess. What we really want to do is do the next step. So I can maybe try doing this in a test-driven way. We'll see how that goes. But I can do another describe here, I think. I don't know if you should do them all in one block. I don't know any kind of best practice writing Haskell. But we can maybe say count symbol frequency. And say, oops, it returns the frequency of each cannot type symbol. I switched to Colmac and it was months ago and I still can't type properly. Particularly when I'm trying to talk, and particularly when I'm trying to talk and learn a new language and also live stream. But it's good to have challenges, isn't it? Right, I need to write a new thing called count symbol freak. And we'll give it a list of things again. So we might give it some random stuff, but probably more characters than that, more symbols than that. I'll just repeat some of this, maybe put another backtick there. And the output from that should be, and then, this needs to be a map. And then let me just sketch it out. So the map should say something like hash contains 3. Doesn't contain 3. The number of hashes is 3, and the number of backticks is, that's wrong place to put my finger, is 2, and the number of dollars, the one I think I have in there, is 1. It doesn't like that because it thinks it's had a comment. Okay, ignore that for a second. So I guess that's not only counting the frequency, but it's also sorting it. But sorting it might not make sense in a map. In fact, maybe I don't want a map. Maybe I want a pair of tuples, because I could sort it in a meaningful way. So maybe I can say instead the frequency is a tuple containing the character, that obviously needs to be coded, and in an integer, which is the number of times it occurs in the string, and it's also sorted because when I print this out later, I want it to be showing me the most commonly used symbols. So I could even just fill this in. So we could say, God, this is going to be a nightmare to type. So I'm trying to set this up. The reason I write this program, one of the reasons is that I can program the keyboard to make symbols more convenient. But kind of hinted at in there is that symbols are not necessarily super convenient right now. So this is going to just be a typing nightmare. Dollar, here's 1 times. Okay, what type is that? How do you specify the type of a tuple? Would you just say string int? Seems to have accepted that. Okay. Yeah, let's see if that works. So, did I set the test task last week? I think I did. Yeah, it seems to be running. And it's with a failure because I haven't written count symbol freq. So I suppose I should do that if I want this to pass. Also, I'll import it here. I'm a bit concerned that Haskell language server has picked up this test.h spec as being able to load it, it suggests it's not running the correct version of GHC, or at least not running the GHC that's part of this this stack project, but it's at least running the tests properly, so I don't know. Let's live with it for now. Right. I called this... Oh, it's not what I have to remember. I'm not very good at remembering. I called it count symbol freak. Frec. How are you going to pronounce it? Count symbol frec. And I better define it. Are you going to complete now? Yes, thank you. So this is going to go from a string to a list of symbol frequencies. And we said that the symbol frequency type is a map of string and int. Do I not say equals? What's wrong with this? Malformed head of type of class declaration. Is it because I didn't give it an S? It is. Sorry, capital S, because it's a type. Okay, this is the point at which I go back to the browser. We say Haskell. Actually, before I even type it in, this is not a data type. This is a type alias, effectively. So I should be able to say just type in there. So we're not creating a new shape of our data. We're just saying, instead of writing the type a map, sorry, not a map, a tuple of string and int, I'm going to define a new type, which is an alias to that, and then use that in my code because it's slightly shorter and a bit more descriptive. Maybe. So we're taking an S, and what are we going to do? It's going to, just think about the steps here. So we have to extract the symbols. I don't know what this is going to be yet, but I think we're going to have to extract the symbols. Well, I know we're going to have to extract the symbols, sorry. I'm just going to pop that there for a second while I think about the rest of it. So we got our list of symbols. What do we want to do? We probably want to sort it. So maybe we can just do that. Hi Axel, welcome. I'm glad you made it this week. We can be live streaming coding hangout buddies. So I can't call sort like that, sorry. And sort is not in scope. I'll have to look it up in a second, find out where to get sort from. We have our sorted list of symbols, and then what we want to do is probably we want to turn it from a list of characters, a string as characters, into a list of these tuples. So that sounds like a job from map to me. So I probably want to map. No, it doesn't look like a map. Actually, I'm going to take that back because we're not taking each individual element and modifying it and then just returning that modified element. We actually want to count up as we go. So it sounds more like I want to use some kind of fold. And the fold, I'm just going to bring up a GHC for a second. So the type of fold, I'm just going to left fold. It wants the function first, and then an initial element, and then a list that's reversible, but a list of things, and then it's going to return something of that new element. So the element that we're going to pass in here, it should be able to work. So oops. Sorry, the B in this case, the thing that we're going to be returning is going to be a list of this tuple of string to int. So that's the easy bit, and we're also going to give it the sorted sims, and the function we want is some kind of count. So sims is equal to that, and count, how does count work? So we're going to give it, it takes B as first argument, so that's the current count. Maybe I did want to map for this because this is actually going to be a bit of a pain to do. It's going to take the current count, it's going to take the symbol, and it needs to return a new list of tuples. So if I keep it as just a list of tuples at this point, this is going to be a bit of a pain because we'll have to walk through the entire list trying to match this character that we've just been given. And if it does match, then we want to return the previous list, but with an element inside it changed. And that doesn't sound great to me. So I don't think I want to do that. Not sure which backseating you want. So just reading your comment, Kerry. I want backseating. There's not much point in doing this and inviting people if I don't get them to help me out and learn with me. What are the types above each element in the where clause? So you mean as a comment like this? Oops. I'll come to your comment in a second, Axel. We won't use a hash map, we will use a map. It won't be hash by default, and we don't need it to be a hash, but we will look up how to use a hash in a second. Good luck typing this into the little chat window, Kerry. Oh, I see. Oh, to be disciplined about giving the type definitions of these like I do for the non-where clause functions. So sims is, what's it going to do? It's going to take a string to string. Oh, I like that. Yeah. And then count is going to take a list of sim frequencies, and it's going to return a new list of sim frequencies, basically. Oh, I missed an argument out. Take list of sim frequencies, takes a character. Is that a capital C? It should be, it's capital C. Okay, it does help with the memory, and it also, I guess, helps me get into this more functional or typed functional way of thinking where you use the types to drive the development. It's basically a very condensed version of Edmund Brady's book, Type-Driven Development, but with more basic types. I'm not as good. Okay, so hashes. Let's go back to the hashes that Axel suggested. So I do want to use a hash. Here. Yes, so what can I search for? I can search for hash. And there is just a hash in the hash map. There's also data dot. I thought the default hash in Haskell, yeah, data.hash. It's not a hash map. It's actually built on top of B tree. because better for most cases, or some cases. I don't know if that's true or not. Probably helps you understand what your data is and how you're accessing it. Give you an ordered map. Well, that's pretty cool. I'm not sure I'm going to go and read this source about BuzzHash, but it does sound kind of cool. So what can we do with this class? I know what a rolling hash is. Computation of a hash moving through a fixed size n over some stream. That sounds like it might be kind of useful. But what does it do? Rolling hash and roll. So rolling hash, base, and an A, and that it has a new element and rolls a window. No, I don't think that is what I want. Mostly because I don't understand what it means. So that scares me off. Okay, so hash foldable. Oh, I don't know. I think this is what we want. We want hashable of some type A, where A is going to be our symbol frequency. I could be wrong. I'd quite like just an example of how to use a hash. Maybe I can look that up. Oh, I've come back in the wrong place. This is where Haskell can be less helpful, because it's telling me, for example, it's combinated for building fast hash functions, which suggests it might be in the wrong place. And the key to be the symbol. Yeah, I'm wondering how you tell it what the type of the key is to start with. Although actually the key in our case is going to be a character. And the value will be the count, and we're going to want to override that. What's hash table? No. Hash map. System map based on hashing. Okay, so maybe there's a character map, so we don't have some map by int, although character is just an int, so we could use that, I guess. Or the unloaded containers package. Oh no, I'm stuck in 2 bits of Haskell hell here. One is, I asked it how to build a hash and it gave me back combinatorics for doing a thing, which is a bit like, you just telling me to go fuck myself. And also, there are a bajillion languages for, not a bajillion languages, but isn't packages for all the things. So it's a little bit hard to know where to get started. I think I'm going to go with hash map. Or map for compatibility. And I'm going to go from, there's a thing about construction. Yeah. No. Perils of choice indeed. I could use, is there a contains? Yeah, lookup. Well, lookup gets me back in maybe A, so this could be good. Okay, so if I just click back there. I'm going to, I think, just briefly comment that out because I think it's going to break. Oops. Why did that not work? No. There we go. Sorry. Going to comment it out, which is more difficult than I expect it to be. Just in case I need to reload my REPL, because it'll complain that this code is unfinished. I could set it undefined, but that seems like cheating. So import data.map. Not a great start. Now containers, you can run set by and expose it. Right. Back to here, I think. So we were saying last week that I ended up in using Stack, its default template to create the project, because I wanted it to create the layout that contained the tests. So I thought that would be helpful, which is okay. But it uses HPAC. So I need to remember to update the package.yaml rather than updating the Cabal file directly, which confused me for a good 10 minutes last week. I think I can just put containers. Was it containers it said? Yeah, containers into here. I think I can. And then tell it to go and sort that out. Oh yeah, it did sort it out. Not quite in the way I expected. But yeah, it's close enough. I have a REPL, that's helpful. So the type of map. Info of map. I've never seen type rule before, so I'm really intrigued by that. Data map KA. So I think I can say something like where's my library here? Sim frequency is a map. You have to pull in data.map. Oops, need to get rid of my previous declaration as well. I think I can say this is a map of what is it? Take a note. Is it? Are you passing the type of the key? It's a map of chart int. Does that work? Okay. If I just define. I just want to. Sorry, I want to reload this into the terminal, into the REPL. But to do that, I need to fix the error where I'm trying to import and use it in the tests, because otherwise the compiler gets upset, understandably. Ambiguous occurrence of filter. Okay, I want to only import the type constructor map for now. Couldn't match that. That's a good point. Because it's not a map. Wow. Okay. Now I need to work out how to create a map. Yeah, okay. You're right. I give in. I'll come back to it in a second. Right. What I want to do is reload this in the REPL so that now I have access to Simfrec. Because I didn't export it. That's not great. I'm just going to export it here for now. Is that enough? Or do I need to export it with the two? Like, can do Simfrec, or do I need to do that? No, because I've told it the types of the map already. I think I'm okay with that. Let's find out. Reload, ask for type, not in scope. Okay, uncool. Can you export the same way as you import? No, that's not it. Okay, so this is generally being helpful. Oh, because it's not a data constructor, it's a type constructor. This whole time, it's been telling me the error. It says data constructor, and I didn't stop and read it properly. You're asking for info about Synfrec. Now it can tell me, okay, cool. So it's a map of character to int. Awesome. How do we use this then? So buying finds a key, that's different. These are querying construction. So I can say, okay, so Axel's question, sorry, is do I want a map of a list of characters to int? And the answer is no. I want it to contain, if I can go back to the test, a symbol is multiple characters. Oh, yes, a symbol will be multiple characters. You're right, at some point I won't want to make it that. But for now, in the short term, I just want to make it work with a single character. So I'm going to make it work with counting just a single character. Ignore this description. That's ambition for later. I'm going to start by just going a single character, counting those up, and then even when I get it working, I'm going to come back and try and make it work with chains of characters, at which point I'll need to change the type. But I'm kind of saving that up because I think it's an interesting refactor as well. Right. So I was looking at this, and you can say empty map. So in theory, I can say something like M is probably not the best thing, but let's try it. X is always good, isn't it? Call it equals, god damn it. X is equal to a new sim, an empty. So this is data.map.empty of type Synfrec. Will that work? So what's the type of X? And X is a Synfrec. My goodness. Making some slow progress. Yeah, I've been writing Go all day, obviously, and then I've switched to coming and doing this, and my brain is slowly catching up. So I'm not sure it is catching up. Okay, so insert takes key and value, because A is the value type, is that right? Probably. Singleton KA, map KA, yeah. So takes a key, takes a value, it takes an existing map, and it returns a new map for us. So here I could say, given that X is empty, I can say Y is equal to, takes a key, so key has got to be some kind of character. It takes a value, so like the value 2, takes our empty map, which is X, and it should return a new map. Okay, so I forgot to call the function, didn't I? After all that, I worked out all the arguments and forgot to call it. Insert. Okay, so I asked for the type of Y. Okay, I didn't tell it explicitly it was Synfrec, so it didn't do that for me, but that's okay. And then Y contains that element, which is good, it's what I want. So if I say Z is equal to insert, and we'll think of a different thing, there, and we'll say there's 3 of them into Y, and then we have a look at it there. Good. Okay, so we can start to build up our list this way, so we can at least add new things into it. The other things we have are insert with key. Oh, insert with key is going to be better. So it's going to be insert if it doesn't exist, and if it does, it will insert F key, new value, old value. So the arguments here, so you go F key value, and then a map. It will insert the pair key value into the map if it does not exist. If it does exist, it will insert F key. And it says new value, old value, which seems to be old value is the map. I'm a bit confused. But I'll try it, see what it does. I think. Oh, the first thing we're actually going to do is try looking stuff up. So member, I think, is what I want, or maybe just lookup. Probably the thing that I can use for that. So I could say something like lookup based on this key in Z, which is our latest map. Okay, data.map.lookup that too. So all the A's will be the value in the map. Sorry, so are you saying that if I call insert with key, oh, it calls F. Sorry, F is a function. So I give it a function that takes these arguments. Got it. Okay. So, sorry, the type of that was key, old value, new value. And that returns a new value. So you can say something like F is equal to, well, type, I'm going to give it type separately. So it's a function which takes a key, which we don't care about, an old value, and returns a new value, which is just in K, presumably. So if we call it with 2, it'll return 3. How do you increment? I thought there was a handy way. It might be called increment or something. So we call f of some key and then some number. It'll give me back the increment of that number, which you might want to put in. Okay. So that's quite handy. So then in theory, taking this C thing, we can say, what comes after Z? Z prime, obviously. Equal to data.map.insert. Oh, it's not completing for me. It's because it's lowercase, maybe. Insert with key. I want to take our, so the arguments for this are f, the key. So we'll try it with a brand new key. So we'll say pipe, a value, which is 1. And the original map, which is there. Okay, couldn't match type int with int to int. Expected type is char to int to int. Old value, new value. I got this wrong. Okay, let's try it again. So f old value, the new value, the value you're trying to insert. Okay, we actually don't care about that. And we just want to, so we'll check away the new value. Or you could do something like a plus b. That should also work. Plus is there. So if we said f old value, the key $, check the argument, new value, old value. Okay, so new value would be 1 in this case, and the old value would have been 2, let's say. It still returns 3, which is what I want. Okay, so now we can say data map insert with key f for a new symbol, count of 1, and the old map. And have a look at that. It's just inserted it. That's great. So now I try it with this thing. It's incremented, kind of in place. Previous value. Cool. Okay, we're getting there. Yeah, indeed. Okay, so now we can, I'm just going to stick to the terminal for a second. I think we can fold this, right? Because you can take a list we're going to take a function which takes an element from that list and then calls data map insert with key. This function f that we defined, which does the increment for us. Then we have the symbol, which is s in this case. The value 1, which is what we're going to increment by. Foldle takes the type of foldle is not quite this. I'm just going to syntax error it for a second. I don't really care which one. So it takes so in this case, the element from the list. No, that's the wrong foldle. Sorry. He said, thinking about, no, because that folds over a map. I don't want to fold over a map. I want to fold over the list of characters we have and put it into a map. Prelude.foldle. Okay, so this takes b, which is our map in this case, as the first argument, and then the element from this traversable as the second, and then returns a new b. So we want to fold. We've got 2 arguments. We've got m and s, m and c. Let's call them m and c because c is a character. So this function f we used before, which just adds the last 2 arguments together. And it applies it to the map. They called it MP before, I quite like that. And if I fold that over something like $hash quote $2, what does that give me back? Parse error, that's pretty good. Gives me back, what fold do you mean? Okay, this is better, I think. So it couldn't match the expected type map PA with actual type list of characters in the second argument of foldle, namely this. So expected this to match. Hang on. The second argument of foldle, which is this thing, should be passed in as a second argument to my function here. Which I'm using here. So is the first argument, no, sorry, the second argument. The second argument is insert with key. But the expected type of this was map PA. So I thought when we called insert with key before, we call it with f, this function, oh, for goodness sake, I've missed an argument of foldle, haven't I? We've given it a function, so what do we write? Given it this function, we have not given it the initial value, but we have given it the list of things. So we can say data.map.empty of simfrac. Well, it doesn't really matter, because it should be able to work it out. And then our list, data.map.empty data.map.empty, try it again. Holy shit, that worked. Okay, so that's not the answer I expected to get to, but it's kind of cool. I can add my second line of Haskell. It's not sorted yet, but you know, I'm going to take that as a win. So we'll just tie this up. What indeed? So I wonder if we can write this out in a clearer way. So the definition of this is foldle. I'm going to disambiguate with foldle here. So that's okay. We already have the stuff we're going to pull in from data map is this constructor map, this type constructor, and then we want insert with key. So here, foldle, and the outputs of foldle are, we're going to call this update map, and then our empty map, I need to pull in empty as well. Empty I've typed simfrac. And our list of sims. I just need to bracket this because I'm giving it type. Okay, and that's going to give me back the map. What argument have I missed out here? Sorry, S. Okay, so where, easy one, sims is just extract symbols from S. But update map, okay, the carry trick of giving it the type. So type of update map is going to take a map, which is simfrac, and it's going to take a character, and it's going to return me a new map. That's what its job is. So update map is, we don't need to make it anonymous anymore. Update map is now just insert with key. So this function, which is just really called inc, or maybe some values. it takes C, it takes this initial value of 1, if it's not in already, and it takes the map and some values is, sorry, it's a function which takes, we don't care, the new value and the old value, and just returns the addition of those two things. So ditch that, and we can move that up higher. Okay. I think this counts as more than one line because I've split it up, but it could have been one line. I can't remember how to unload module, and I've imported data map, which would have clashed a lot. Oh, I need to sort that out. That's just my stack setup. Okay, so in theory, I can say something like count symbol frec. I like how I wrote the test at the beginning and now I'm not using it, but I have to update the test for new type because we haven't finished our function yet. Maybe like some symbols would be better. Look at that. I'm quite happy with that. Probably not the solution I was expecting, but I like the solution that it is, I think. I don't know, like, you have this idea of Haskell of just declaring what the answer is, and the answer is just the left fold of the update map of an empty map type character int over the extraction of symbols from a string. But that's not super easy to read, I don't think. It's all gone a bit Haskell-y, but yeah, it's a cool answer. It's nothing like the answer I would have got to in a language like Go. Cool. That was an unmitigated success, I think, to some extent. So I'm going to call it an evening here. I think I've done enough for today. Next week, you can come back and look at sorting this. At some point, I need to put some Git as well, because I'll break it at some point. Look at sorting it. I'll fix the tests, and I will also... I couldn't read it. I think, yeah, Haskell can be hard to read. It can be wonderful to read, and I could probably make it more readable, I'm sure. But yeah, it's kind of neato. Anyway, if I get the test working, I'll start looking at doing these chains of encoding. So we'll look at a refactor, return this from a character into a string. Cool. All right. Thank you very much for joining me. It's certainly been really interesting. It's been a lot of fun, and it's nice to have people in the chat joining in. And the delay has been better tonight than it has been previously, which has really helped with the chat. Cool. Well, if you're free next week, I'll see you for the next part. And if not, you can watch it back on YouTube, I guess, if you're very bored. But I might see you another Thursday. Cool. See you later.